Great music.
Drink Pepsi Black for max taste, no sugar Pepsi Black time, 7 hours.
The news from Guyana, the region and the world. Compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom and powered by DemeraraWaves.com.
A very good morning to you with the news at this time. I am Tiana Jordan. The news comes to you with the compliments of Eureka Medical Laboratories. And now to begin the news, here's a look at the lead stories. Regional Democratic Council meeting was adjourned after AFC councillor whose name a no-confidence motion is in against the chair and vice chair was exposed to a COVID-19 positive person. The secretary to the Local Government Commission, Nikolai Price, was Thursday sent on administrative leave to pave the way for an investigation into alleged misconduct. A gold mine worker has died in a pit cave-in. In regional news, students in Antigua and Barbuda who are not vaccinated will be removed from the physical classroom. The details of these and other stories will be coming up right here in just a moment.
Don't let the fear of contracting the coronavirus disease deter you from seeking the medical care you need. At Eureka Labs, we ensure the safety of our clients and staff with our rigid sanitization routine. This involves the use of ultraviolet lights to effectively rid the air and all surfaces of viruses and bacteria that may be present throughout the lab daily. The light works to rapidly inactivate microorganisms through a physical process that is invisible to human eye. So the next time you need a checkup, don't hesitate to give us a call on 225-7574 to schedule your appointment.
And now the news in detail. The Region 4 Demerara Council meeting was Thursday morning adjourned after an Alliance for Change AFC councillor who wants to sponsor a no-confidence motion against the Vice Chairman Samuel Sandy, refused to leave on the grounds that he was exposed to a COVID-19 positive person. Regional Chairman Daniel Seram says Councillor Amarnath Chinkan will be reprimanded for his behavior at the next scheduled meeting. There was an exchange from the floor to the chair.
I will not leave because you never tell me that
this meeting is adjourned in the interest of public health of all councillors.
I would like to adjourn it because you know I'm short. You never tell me that the official. You're telling messages to me. What an idiot. He's afraid of what's going to happen to me. I don't have it. I just came from the area so I got tested again. I'm not going to answer you. This, you know, really, son, what they call it, moon or something, they catch up. You catch up and I used to.
Mr. Chinkan insisted that he was tested negative twice, once last week and again on Thursday. However, he did not provide any proof of his test result. Regarding the no-confidence motion against the chairman and the vice chairman, the regional chairman says he relied on the law, a precedent against the former Region 4 chairman, Clement Curlett, and a parliamentary procedure to remove the motion from the agenda.
There's no motion currently before us. A motion was submitted on the 24th of October, 2021. I would have examined such a motion, and I would have dismissed such a motion. Right? The motion that came before me in its content, right, after going through the 2801, the 2809, and the parliamentary standing order, is of no material effect, inconsequential, a waste of time of my counsel, and strictly political in its crafting. Therefore, in giving all of the reasons that I have given so far, right, I decided not to entertain such a motion and I dismissed it.
Mr. Chinkan insisted that the regional chairman could not unilaterally throw out the motion, but by a decision of the council only. Alliance for Change councillor Nielsen Mackenzie said he was now looking forward to the next council meeting because ultimately they want to move the council forward, and it is the business of the people that matters more than the individual persuasions. The AFC has already publicly criticized APNU for breaking a formal agreement that the AFC would have been supported for the position of vice chairman. However, when it had actually gone to a vote last year, the APNU nominated Messrs. Seram and Sandy for both the chairmanship and vice chairmanship. The Secretary to the Local Government Commission, LGC, Nikolai Price, was Thursday sent an administrative leave to pave the way for an investigation into alleged misconduct, but he has already denied the allegation. LGC Chairman Julius Faber says the investigation would be conducted by the commissioners to determine if there is sufficient evidence to send the matter for further action. The LGC chairman told News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM the matter is an internal one involving two staff. The commission is first doing its own internal investigation and may probably ask for external assistance if it warrants that approach. Despite the fact that the government enjoys a 5-seat majority, the chairman is confident that the probe would be impartial as he repossesses confidence in the commissioners. The finance manager is acting as secretary to the LGC in Price's absence. According to Mr. Faber, the probe could take 2 weeks. The decision to send Price on leave was made at Thursday's meeting after considering a letter containing 2 allegations, one of which Mr. Faber described as administrative from a staff member. An LGC source said he has several other complaints against Mr. Price and he intends to bring them forward during the probe, which could see the investigation lasting more than 1 month. Mr. Faber says the Commission is not aware of any other complaints. The prison authority has confirmed that murder-accused Kapildio Gangadin, who allegedly killed 21-year-old businessman Ganesh Prasad during a robbery on Friday, October 15th, escaped from the Lusignan prison on Thursday morning. Prison Director Nicklon Elliott says Gangadin was housed in the quarantine unit at the penal institution. He was able to tamper with the tent unit, which gained him entry into the prison farm, where he jumped the gate and escaped into the nearby dump site. He was discovered missing during a routine check at 4 a.m. yesterday morning. A mobile police patrol had arrested Gangadin, and the jewelry of the victim was found in his possession. Gangadin, at the time of his arrest, admitted to committing the offenses. He stabbed 21-year-old Ganesh Prasad in the neck and robbed him of cash and jewelry. Prasad died while receiving treatment at the privately owned Balwant Singh Hospital, East Street, Georgetown. The Ministry of Health says the current stock of AstraZeneca vaccines expires at the end of November and appeals to persons who have not taken their second dose to do so now. It was revealed by Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony that a number of persons are yet to take the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine.
And we currently have the second dose available to them. If they don't come, and by the end of November, if these vaccines then expired, then we don't have any in stock. We'll have to wait until we get another shipment or we purchase another shipment, and that would be a pity because we've had the vaccines, and if people don't come and take it and they expire, then, we'll have to look at other options. And that's very unfortunate because if you get the vaccine, you want to make sure that people use it so that they can protect themselves.
The ministry is facing an uphill challenge to get persons to return for the completion of their vaccine regimen. Dr. Anthony says the percentage between first and second dose is a wide gap.
Before you can get a second dose, you have to get a first dose. So these numbers are reflective of the percentage of persons who got their first dose and now came back for their second dose. So when you look at how much person got their first dose and how much got their second dose, there's a difference of 139,000 people. So there's still a lot of people who need to come back to get their second dose vaccine.
The Health Ministry has recorded 241,211 adults and 17,898 children ages 12 to 17 who are fully vaccinated, and 380,267 adults and 27,198 children are partially vaccinated as of October 27, 2021. Guyana has recorded 98 new cases of the coronavirus COVID-19 and 4 more deaths, taking the death toll to 904. Official data shows 23 persons in the COVID-19 ICU, while 57 others are hospitalized receiving treatment. There are 2,832 persons across the country who tested positive and were told to isolate themselves at home. The records show an increase in positive cases recorded in the last 24 hours and a decline in the number of persons isolating at home. A 49-year-old man of Essex Street, New Amsterdam, has died as a result of the caving in of a mining pit. The incident occurred on October 24th. Dead is Bertie John Williams, who was a pitman at a mining operation at Whitehall Backdam, Petaro. Investigators were told that he was working when a portion of the pit's wall caved in, covering him. The other workers managed to escape to safety. The lifeless body of the man was later recovered and taken to the Madia Regional Hospital, where an official pronouncement of death was given. The body of the deceased is at the hospital's mortuary as investigations continue. The police have detained 3 Kanji Berbice men for the alleged possession of unlicensed firearms and marijuana possession. Police say a patrol in the Kanji Calabash Creek area on Wednesday, they noticed 2 men, 39 and 49 years old, in a boat acting suspiciously. Police say they stopped the boat and carried out a search and unearthed 4.5 kilograms of marijuana. The men admitted the illegal drugs belonged to them and they were immediately arrested. And in a separate search, acting on information, police say they went to the home of a 51-year-old man who is a cash crop farmer at Kanji Creek, East Kanji Berbice. Police say they searched his home in his presence and found an American-made 16-gauge shotgun without number and 1 Russian-made 16-gauge shotgun, along with 26 12-gauge cartridges under his mattress. The firearms and cartridges were shown to him, and he was then told of the offense committed and cautioned. He remained silent. He, the 2 other suspects, the narcotics and firearms, were taken to the Central Police Station, New Amsterdam. And now in regional news. Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, confirmed that global supply chain clogs at major United States and United Kingdom ports will have a very serious ripple effect on the importation of goods to his country. According to international reports, the ports in Los Angeles are so clogged that up to Wednesday, some 200,000 cargo ships were waiting to enter and offload. Other ports were facing much of the same situation, with long lines of cargo vessels waiting to offload, load and leave, but unable to move. It is estimated that the busy global Christmas-time goods delivery will be impacted, and customers in the US and the UK have been warned that it will be months before the situation is back to normal. There is also the related inflation that will see a steady increase in the cost of goods. The Prime Minister warned that the effects will reach Trinidad. The Trinidad and Tobago leader says the unavailability of a whole range of outcomes of imports, general shortages, and significant cost increases across the board should be expected. He says it's the reason the government has encouraged the diet changes to involve local fresh produce, which is cheaper and incidentally much healthier. Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Brian Manning, added his concern and confirmed that the ministry was bracing for the higher prices. The Antigua and Barbuda government has decided that when school resumes face-to-face classes next week, students who are not vaccinated will be removed from the physical classroom. Information Minister Melford Nicholas says the students have 14 days within which to take a jab against the potentially deadly COVID-19 virus. Official figures show that 3,000 eligible students in Antigua and Barbuda still remain unvaccinated against COVID-19. Schools across Antigua and Barbuda are set to reopen for face-to-face learning next Tuesday. Already, the government has issued a vaccination mandate for all government workers. And now for the international news, the latest coming from the BBC World Service.
Hello, I'm Chris Barrow with the BBC News. Pope Francis has urged world leaders at next week's climate summit in Glasgow to take radical decisions offering concrete hope to future generations. In a message recorded for the BBC, the Pope said that with climate change and the pandemic, people felt increasingly powerless, frail and fearful. He said the current crises could lead to the destruction of human society.
Ci siamo scoperti deboli e pieni di paure.
We find ourselves increasingly frail and even fearful, caught up in a succession of crises in the areas of healthcare, the environment, food supplies and the economy, to say nothing of social, humanitarian and ethical crises.
Crisi trasversali.
All these crises are profoundly interconnected. They also forecast a perfect storm.
Di una tempesta perfetta.
The actor and former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, has told the BBC that politicians who claim environmental regulations are bad for the economy are either liars or stupid. As governor for 8 years, until 2011, Mr. Schwarzenegger brought in regulations to cut carbon. He said California had proved that both the environment and the economy could be protected at the same time.
We in California, as you know, we are very aggressive. We are the only place that really reduced greenhouse gases by 25% and brought it back to the 1990 level. And what we are so happy about is that we are proving simultaneously that it is the best job creator when you go green.
More than 160 former world leaders and global figures have called on Western powers to mount an immediate military airlift of surplus COVID vaccines to developing countries. Addressing the Italian hosts of the forthcoming G20 summit, the signatories, including 36 former presidents, say that letting hundreds of millions of doses go to waste would be unethical. The authorities in Pakistan have suspended several trains departing from the capital Islamabad as thousands of Islamists from a banned organisation continue to march on the city. Key junctions and bridges leading to Islamabad and Rawalpindi cities have been blocked to stop members of the Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan. Shumaila Jaffrey reports.
The protesters are still advancing towards Islamabad, despite warnings by the government that strict action will be taken against them. Hundreds spent the night in Gujranwala city in Punjab before continuing on their way. Police and paramilitary rangers have been deployed at a nearby bridge to try to stop the march. Several key bridges on the route into the capital have been blocked with shipping containers, and trenches have been dug across the main highway. The government says that the TLP has crossed the red line and that it will not be allowed to hold the country hostage.
BBC News. A British government minister has suggested that Britain could retaliate against France in an escalating dispute over post-Brexit fishing rights. George Eustace described language being used by France as completely inflammatory and warned that, as he put it, two could play at that game. France has detained a British trawler and has threatened further action unless more French boats are given licences to fish in British waters. A medical organisation in Sudan has said it's impossible to know the number of people killed and wounded during the public protests against Monday's coup. The Central Committee of Sudanese Doctors said at least 8 had definitely died, but it accused militias of causing bloody incidents in several cities, using live bullets against unarmed civilians, including children and the elderly. The top American diplomat in Taiwan has said the United States remains committed to helping the island defend itself. At her first news conference since taking up the post in July, Sandra Audkirk described the US commitment to Taiwan as rock solid.
We continue to have a shared and abiding interest in peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. The U.S. considers this central to the security and stability of the broader Indo-Pacific region and to the United States, and we are deeply concerned by ongoing PRC efforts to undermine that stability.
Ambassador Audkirk's comments come at a time of rising tension with China. The Japanese island of Okinawa has begun a major cleanup operation to remove pumice stone that's accumulated on its coast after a huge underwater volcanic eruption. The floating stone has covered the white sand beaches of the island's resorts, blocked ports, wrecked boats and killed farmed fish. It's coated several areas of the coast in a grey blanket, and officials say it will take weeks to remove the pumice. That's the latest. BBC News.
The news came to you with the compliments of Eureka Medical Laboratories.
A COVID-19 PCR test is now mandatory for many routine activities, including travel and return-to-work purposes. At Eureka, our trained and experienced staff will ensure confidentiality while your test is conducted in a professional and timely manner, with results in just 48 hours. So the next time you require an efficient and hassle-free PCR COVID-19 test, call 624-8378, 608-8378, or 623-7233 to schedule your appointment. You can also ask about our house call testing service.
And now to end the news, here is a recap of the leads. Regional Democratic Council meeting was adjourned after AFC councillor whose name a no-confidence motion is in against the chair and vice chair was exposed to a COVID-19 positive person. The secretary to the Local Government Commission, Nikolai Price, was Thursday sent on administrative leave to pave the way for an investigation into alleged misconduct. A gold mine worker has died in a pit cave-in. And regionally, students in Antigua and Barbuda who are not vaccinated will be removed from the physical classroom. And that's the end of the news.
This has been the news, compiled in the News Talk Radio Newsroom. For ongoing updates, visit demerarawaves.com, and you can check facebook.com/demwaves and twitter.com/demwaves.
News Talk Radio Guyana is the station for you, bringing you news updates every hour, major news 3 times a day, edutainment on a higher level, shows like Beat the Clock, Brunch on the Coast, The Afternoon Jam, Youth's Perspective. It's a station that goes wherever you go, streaming online at www.bit.ly/newstalk1031. It's News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM.